This is Steven from Industry Beef Channel. At this point, Puffy will be sitting behind bars and regretting all his actions because it's really over for him at this point and might end up in jail for the rest of his life. Check this out. Diddy has been indicted on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges that accuse him of abusing women for over a decade. The Bad Boy Records boss was arrested by federal agents in New York on Monday night, September 16th, following a string of sexual assault lawsuits filed against him and a subsequent criminal investigation into his alleged misconduct. The grand jury indictment, which was unsealed on Tuesday morning, September 17th, alleges he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. It levies 1 count each of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Diddy, real name Sean Combs, is expected to plead not guilty, according to his lawyer Mark Agnifilo, who spoke to reporters ahead of his client's court appearance on Tuesday morning. Agnifilo added that he would fight like hell to try to get the mogul released from custody and that his client is confident and in good spirits, despite the fact that his legal troubles are now a criminal matter as well as a civil one. Let's check out this clip and see more of what's happening right now. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Phil, give us the details on this indictment.
So we're just looking through it right now. You hit the highlights, but right off the bat, you know, they go through all of his, all of the names that, because they have to do that in an indictment. They have to name all the names he's ever gone by. And then they talk about, he relied on his employees and resources to influence the multifaceted business and what he would do. They allege that there were, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping. They allege arson, bribery, obstruction of justice. They go on to talk about how he would abuse women. They talk about kicking and punching and dragging and forcing them to have, they talked about highly coordinated sexual acts with male prostitutes. I mean, this is extensive. This seems to be everything that we have heard about in allegations. I haven't been through the entire thing yet. We're all looking through it. But so far, what I can tell just in the first couple of pages is most of the things they are alleging in this indictment we have heard about.
About the searches of his residence, the guns, the cases of lubricant, and the videos. Where were they found amongst his residence? Were they all scattered around the houses in one place? I kind of wanted to just get a better picture of how that stuff was found.
Well, look, I think that some of the details that you're seeking are in the detention letter. So, for instance, some of the AR-15s, 2 of the 3 defaced AR-15s were found in his bedroom closet in Miami, broken down into parts along with magazines with ammunition loaded in them. So some of that detail is in the detention letter. Beyond that, I'm not going to be able to get into where other items were stored.
Ben Kochman, Post.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Your office was the office that had been prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein before he died in custody. I have not read your detention memo yet. It's the first thing I'm going to do after this ends. But does the memo address, or is your office concerned with Combs' safety in custody, given what happened with Epstein?
So we are concerned with anyone's safety whenever they are detained prior to trial. It's part of our obligations to keep people safe as well. It's part of the criminal justice system. So, but I do not draw any sort of connection between Jeffrey Epstein's suicide and what may or may not happen to any other defendant while they are detained pre-trial. And of course, the decision whether to detain the defendant will be up to a judge. Our position is that pre-trial detention is warranted under the law and based on the facts of this case, and I'll leave it at that.
Are some of the prosecutors on this case some of the same prosecutors that had been handling that, or that worked on the Maxwell case?
So I'm not going to get into the staffing. I will say that this team, this group of AUSAs, this incredible group has been working on this case around the clock, and they've had their hands full. Next question.
Gus Rosendale, NBC News.
Good morning, sir. Combs' attorney said that his client has been cooperative with investigators. He said that this morning. I was wondering if you would have a reaction to that.
Let me just say this. I think that generally, with increasing frequency, the word cooperative or cooperating has taken on tremendous elasticity and it no longer really bears any relation to what the word means when we use it in a very specific context. So responding to lawful process and the like does not qualify as cooperation when we use that term here.
Mike Sisak, AP.
Thanks. To that end, was there any discussion of Mr. Combs surrendering? I understand he was taken into custody at a hotel in Manhattan last night, and maybe that wasn't the plan. Can you elaborate on how that came about and why that was?
I'm not going to be able to get into any sort of operational details as to how he was taken into custody and when. He is in custody right now. He will be appearing in court later today.
Was there any discussion of him surrendering, given they claim he's cooperating?
I'm not going to be able to get into law enforcement tactics or operations. Well, I can't get into the charging decision. It is very meaningful to us that weapons were possessed, as we allege in the indictment. Part of the reason why this conduct was so pervasive and harmful was because victims and others didn't necessarily feel comfortable denying him his wishes, as we allege, because of the presence of firearms. I should leave it there.
Thanks. Last question, Jacob Shamison.
Jacob Shamsian, Business Insider. Thank you. Given that he's the sole defendant in this case and that you allege he's part of a conspiracy that involves members of his companies, do you anticipate a superseding indictment that bring allegations against other members of his companies or other co-conspirators as well?
I can't take anything off the table. Anything is possible. Our investigation is very active and ongoing. And I think a lot of you who cover this office know that when we say such things, that developments are certainly foreseeable, but I cannot predict them sitting here today.
Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like the video and subscribe to our channel.